Hey guys, it's Penda's Data Diaries again. Today I want to show you how to calculate and visualize the count of parallel events with limited date and time information in Tableau. So let's jump right in. I already loaded mock events file over here. So this is displaying events with the IDs 1 to 10. And we only have the start date and time over here, and we have the duration in minutes. That's all the information that we have in this file. So let's start with this information and show what we can do. So the first and most obvious thing you might want to do is visualize this type of information as a Gantt chart. So over here you see this is a Gantt chart, and what we need is one dimension and 0 or 2 measures. So let's start. What do we have? We have the start date. Okay, we can drag it over here. And we have the event IDs. We can add them to the rows over here. And now, since it is set to year, we need to adjust it. And as we saw, it's date and time information. So I would like to display it as the minutes. Over here, let's choose minutes. Remember, do it over here, don't do it over here. So this is the correct way to do it. And it will display it here over time. So nice start. And I want to display the length of the event, of course, as the duration. So what I could do, as you might think, is just put this here, duration in minutes. But, okay, it destroys the graph, so I can click back on this one. It will show it like this. But what happened here? You see, these are now no longer hours, these are now days. But I would like to display it in minutes. So this doesn't really work. And what I need to do over here is I need to add a calculated field. So let me do that. Create calculated field. And I will call it duration in days. So this is the percentage of the day that the event takes. This way I can visualize it. So just a simple calculation, it would be the duration minutes divided by 24 hours of the day times 60 minutes. So calculating this, and now I will replace it. So let's remove this one over here and let's get the duration in days instead. And just double click it. It will again destroy the graph, but click again on Gantt view. And now here we go. So you see we have the events displayed over here. I could also add the descriptions. So let's say add label and display it over here. So when it starts, would also be nice to have the end date, of course. So let me do that as well. I create another calculated field and I would like to add the end date. So let's call the field end date as well. End date, and the calculation would go as such. You use the date add function in minutes and then give it the duration minutes and the start date, and it will add a new date field. So I hit OK, and when I drag this one to the labels as well, we can also show it. And let me show both fields, actually the start and the end date, in the text label. And you see here it selected year as a default. Let's set it back to the minutes as well. So same as we did before, the lower one minutes, and this one also as minute. Okay, and would need to make it a little bigger to fit the screen. So let's choose entire height, and here we have it displayed. 9 to, okay, should be reversed, maybe first start and then end. Okay, 9 to 10:13, 9:50 to 10:45, and so on and so forth. So here we have a nice visual which shows the Gantt chart and yeah, when the events take place. But what I actually want to know is the amount of concurrent events in a certain time period. So you might think you could just, for example, go here to analytics and then just get the totals or something. Let's say we get the column totals, and it would just show, like, in this time slot we have like 2 overlapping events over here, and it would just show it over here. But unfortunately, this is not possible. It doesn't do it like that. You need to do some magic to make that happen. So, and why is that the case? Let's go back to the data source. And over here, you will see that we added these calculations. So we added the duration in days so that the bars are shown in the correct length. And we also added the end date. So this is a new field. But there's no way for Tableau to actually understand how these are interrelated, because this is a super sparse data set. And we don't have anything between all of these points. Like we just have 9, 950, and so on. But we don't have 91, 92, 93, 94, all the minutes in between. That there could be something that we could add up to each other. It's just empty, just like a few sparse data points flying around in space. It looks like there's more data because we can visualize the Gantt chart, but this is just we're using the duration in days that we calculated to display the length of this chart. So that's all that is shown over here. You see, there's no actual data lying behind here. It's just a visual effect, let's say. And let's call it Gantt. So yeah, this unfortunately doesn't work. We need to do something else. And here I will show you how to do it. So we actually need to add a new data source. And this would be the same data set. And I call it mock events. And this one, we're now adding it, but we will do a union with itself. So what we do now is we have the mock events CSV over here, and we will add it, drag and drop it, not add it as a join. We will add it in a self union. So we will add the same source to itself. Sounds a little bit weird, but I will show you why. So first of all, you see that it has this icon over here, which shows that it's a union. And let me update the data to show you what it looks like. It will actually take the data from the initial table and will add the same data below it. So you see over here we have events 1 till 10, and below this is the joint, or the not joint, the union, which shows the same data below it. So we're just stacking up two tables on top of each other. And now it sounds a little weird, but let me show you why I'm doing this. Okay, so for clarity, I also renamed the new data source as self-union. This is the original one. So when I have this, first of all, I can show you with the table names what it did. So I have now mock events and mock events CSV 1. So you see it already added this one over here, which separates these two tables. Okay, so let me create a new sheet, and now let's go and add some more calculations so that we can display the parallel events. First calculated field that we need is we need a shared date. So the whole goal of this exercise is to have the start date and the end date basically available at the same time in a shared date field. And there's a calculation. So I already prepared it over here. Could be something like this. And we would see that if table name equals mock events, then use the start date field. Else if the table name equals mock events .csv1, which is the unioned second version of the original file, then use the end date instead, and then end. So here it didn't drag the correct one, so let me drag them in. This is start date, and the end date, we don't have it in the new data source because I only added it to the first data source. So let me create a calculated field over here as well, adding the end date. So we have it available in the union as well. Okay, adding this one. And now the shared date should be correct. Yes, no error anymore. And I now have the shared date field. And then we need another calculated field, which is the parallel events count, I will just call it. So this is the field that will help to calculate it. And over here, I already prepared this. So let me copy this one. What I need to do is say if the table name equals the first table, so mock events.csv, then return 1. Else if the table name is the second table, so mock events.csv1, then return -1. end. So this is basically returning these numbers, which will help to do a calculation. So whenever there's a start date, which is represented in table 1, it will add 1. And whenever there's an end date, which is represented by the date field in table 2, then it will calculate -1. So it will subtract it. So, okay, we have this now. And what I can do now is I can drag this field right over here and also add the unified date or the shared date. So this over here, and we wanted this in minutes again. So let me already do that. And we see there is already a calculation, but it doesn't work yet. So we need to turn this into a running sum, of course. So let me add a quick table calculation and choose, or let me do a table calculation and choose the running total over here. And it's across the table, that is correct. So this is already showing the correct numbers, hopefully. To make it a little bit clearer, because in this graph it's not clear what happens in the time periods, because it just jumps from peak to peak. Let's change the path to this line type. So now it's getting clearer. And you see over here, so there's one event, then there are two parallel events, then again 1, then 0. And to confirm that it's actually working, let me add a small dashboard, a little dashboard, where I drag the Gantt chart that is still using the old data source, important. Else the calculations would be doubled, so it's important to split these data sources. So this one over here, let me show you by adding this sheet below it, or let's put it above, to see the parallel events and if it actually matches up. So it starts over here at 9 a.m. until 10:13, and then here the next one starts at 9:50. So we have over here one event, then at 9:50 the second event starts, and it also shows two parallel events. Then it goes down again, yes, because here they're no longer parallel, and then it drops to 0 because here there's no event. You see that? So when we move on over here, we have 3 events starting from 12:19. So let me see if this is correct. 12:19, yes, we see 3 events over here, and it's going down and up and down. So this is exactly resembling the Gantt chart, but you see the concurrent or the parallel amounts of events, which can be a super useful indicator. Okay, that's all that I wanted to show you for today. Thanks for watching, and see you again soon on my channel.